Hello everyone, and welcome to Ful-on, your Fulham-centric football podcast. I'm your host, Ash Woolford. Joining me this week, we have a full team. Mozza, how you doing, buddy?
Do I say it? I'm not going to say it. I'm very well. How are you guys?
AJ, how you doing, mate?
All good, all good.
And Drew, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, my friend. Good to see you.
We have the unenvious task of sort of looking forward to this weekend's game. If you are looking forward to it, it's going to be a very difficult game this weekend away at Liverpool Anfield, considering suspensions and injuries. Don't go into this one with a massive amount of confidence myself, but we'll see what comes with that. Drew, I'm going to come to you, mate. Ask the question we always come to because you've been pretty spot on the last couple of weeks when it comes to squads and who's going to play. So we're going to stick with you because you tend to be doing well.
I've been fired.
Yeah. What are you expecting squad wise on Saturday, considering all of our suspensions and injuries?
I think the defence picks itself. Castagna may come in for Tete, who's played quite a lot of football recently, but we've only got two fit centre backs, so Cuenca and Diop will start. You'd imagine Robinson, bearing in mind they've got Salah on the wing. Robinson will play. Midfield, I can't see them going away from the Muniz-Berge pivot because it was so effective against Arsenal, even though we didn't have the majority of the ball. On the right, it's difficult. They may go with Wilson, or they will employ Adama again on the basis that we're not going to have a lot of the ball, and they hope to hit Liverpool on the break. On the left, with Nelson being out for the next 3 months at least, you've got to get Iwobi in there somehow. The interesting point is going to come, as far as I'm concerned, in what we are calling the number 10 role, where ESR has been brought to play. ESR was anonymous against Arsenal, and to be fair to Silva, he did the right thing bringing him off, but he could have brought him off a lot sooner. I wonder if ESR is better suited to games where we're going to have more of the ball. And as much as I have coated him, I would be tempted to go with Pereira in this particular game because he's stronger physically and defensively. Up front, he'll probably go with Jimenez again because he is technically our best striker. But yeah, I don't really see a huge change. But I would be tempted. I'd be tempted to go with Pereira over ESR, much like he did at Man City. A physically stronger midfield. But it'd be interesting. Iwobi picks himself. Then who do you put on the right? He may go with Adama again. May go with Wilson. But yeah, but I think the real, like I said, I want to see who plays in the 10. I think that's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, it will be. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one this weekend, and what we go with. The last 3 or 4 games we played at Anfield, we've come away with nothing, but we've given really good accounts of ourselves. We did it twice last year in the league and in the cup where we, yes, we didn't win, but we weren't completely embarrassed. Liverpool had to score a load of screamers against us last year in order to get points. AJ, without naming literally their whole squad, mate, who do you have the most concern about facing on Saturday? Like, how do we solve the problem that is, trying to, not get completely destroyed at Anfield?
Tough one. Their squad's in good form. I'm not 100% on their injuries in terms of their forward players, but they've had a little bit of rotation outside of Salah. So I'm going to be boring and go Salah because of his recent threat, and the contract negotiations seem to be impacting him not at all. So I think he's probably our biggest threat, but in very traditional Fulham fashion, we'll probably give someone like Diaz, or I'm trying to remember his name, the Uruguayan, Nunes. We'll probably give someone like them a hat trick, knowing our luck, because they haven't scored in a while, or something along those lines, in very traditional Fulham fashion.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? Liverpool, let's be honest, anyone who's watched Liverpool play this season, they've been very, very impressive. I know there was a lot of speculation at the beginning of the summer that, they didn't sign anyone over the transfer window. They've got a new manager come in, but Arne Slot has properly hit the floor running at Liverpool this season. I hate giving Liverpool their flowers because they're one of those football clubs, but they've been outstanding so far this season. I watched their Champions League game against Real Madrid a couple of weeks ago, and I thought they were absolutely superb. So, it is one of those games where I genuinely go into it really, really worried about what we can do. Talking about what we can do, Mozza, looking at our squad, who do you think might be, our secret weapon in terms of maybe having an outlet, maybe trying to do something in terms of, playing on the counter, as I suspect we probably will be on Saturday?
I really don't know. But I thought if we're gonna go anywhere sort of and play on our strengths, we would be looking at our strike force. I'll be interested to see who starts. I think it'll be Jimenez over Nunes. But either way, I mean, I don't think it kind of matters. That is pretty much my answer. I really don't know. I'm sorry, I'm a bit lost for words, but I think our up front is going to be our best offence, and I think maybe that should be the tactic that is focused on, hopefully. But I think our sort of weakness, our downfall, will come down to the back four, if it is a back four. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about the fact we have no centre backs on no our three best centre backs, as it were, are not playing. In saying that, Issa Diop has been outstanding the last couple of weeks, and I've got no concerns about him stepping into play. Cuenca worries me a little bit because he's only had 2 appearances for us, well 3 if you include the 30 seconds he was on the pitch at Everton and they scored. So it is a bit worrying that. Drew, looking into this game, I think an awful lot of our game is going to depend on Lukic and Sander Berge, who have been very impressive in the last couple of weeks, and they were very, very good against Arsenal on Sunday. Do you imagine that it's going to be one of those games where they're really going to have to put in a shift to help us sort of play on the counter, or just to be more resolute at the back?
Well, I think we're one of those teams that have to play as hard as we can because we're not good enough to coast. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm as pro Fulham as anyone, but we're not. I mean, look what happened a couple of weeks ago when we played Wolves. Yeah, we were flat, and they smashed us 4-1. So if we go to Anfield doing anything less than giving 100%, then it's all going to be it's going to be over by the shouting. What concerns me is that we've played a lot of football and a lot of hard games recently, and Liverpool haven't. And I am worrying that this is one game too far, bearing in mind we don't have a lot of depth. I think Mozza's point, and he's going to think I'm taking the piss out of him, but I'm not. I think Mozza's point is well made. I think defence, the best form of defence is going to be attack, because there is absolutely no way we're going to be able to hold them at bay for 90 minutes. Okay, Jota isn't fully fit yet, but Alisson's coming back. McAllister is still suspended. But up front, they're going to have the choice between Nunes and Gakpo, and both of them are big and quick. And I can't speak for Cuenca, and I think Diop's been playing out of his skin. But I think sheer pace is going to cause him significant problems. The one player that I really think I've got a nasty feeling, well, there's a couple actually. I think if Nunes plays, he could cause us significant problems because he's big, quick, and powerful. And the other one, and I know Salah, AJ's quite rightly identified Salah, but I think Diaz is a hell of a player. I really do. and I could see him causing us significant problems. I mean, I've got total faith in Silva and I've got total faith in the team, but I just think this might be one game too much. So but going back to your question, Ash, and I haven't forgotten it, and I'm not prevaricating. You're quite right about Berge and Lukic. I just think with the deficiencies we've got in defence, I just think it, and the amount of tough games we've played recently, I just think we might be a little bit overwhelmed. And that's not a criticism of them at all, because, aside from the Wolves game where we were just flat across, and without wishing to bring up recent trauma, the Villa game where we went missing for 25 minutes, that awful reaction we had to the missed penalty in the first half. By and large, you can't fault the effort, but I mean, they ran their hearts out against Arsenal. And I'm just a little bit frightened for them, because Liverpool are going to see it as a prime opportunity. Bear in mind, their game against Everton got postponed, and Chelsea made up ground with their shootout win at Tottenham. They're going to see it as a prime opportunity to extend their lead at the top. Bear in mind, they've got a game in hand. So, yeah, I mean, I Lukic and Berge, I think, are fantastic, and personally, I think they pick themselves. They pick themselves at the moment. I don't see how on current form you can go away from them, but I just think they're going to be overwhelmed. That's my fear. Sounds depressing, doesn't it? Eh? Don't ever lie down in this dark room now.
It is. I think it's one of those things for me. I don't know if you guys agree, but I think for me it's going to be one of those games where I just really hope that we don't do too much damage mentally. I think you have to be one of the most optimistic Fulham fans if you're expecting anything from the game this weekend, considering, we have had a tough run of games. Yes, I know this is our first game out of London in ages, but if you're expecting anything against a team that have been nothing but superb so far this season, and we have injuries and we have suspensions to key players, I just hope that the players that are playing don't take a massive hit mentally, because we've seen it happen a few times to us in the last couple of years where, we've had one bad result and it sort of knocked us for a few games, and don't want to see that. I know Silva's usually pretty good at having teams ready and prepared, and trying to be as resolute as possible. I just don't think it's possible to play against the Liverpool squad and do what we did against Arsenal on Sunday, which is frustrate them, because this is a Liverpool squad who can score goals from open play and aren't relying on, a set piece coach to get them through. So we'll see what that is. Let's before we sort of move on to some other business, let's sort of wrap up the game preview like we always do, and let's sort of look at everyone. Give me a player to look out for Liverpool and a player to look out for Fulham, and a scoreline prediction, which is, I know, shuddery to think about. But AJ, we'll start with you, mate. Give us a Liverpool player to look at. I know you've already given us Salah, so I won't be surprised if you stick with your guns there. But give us someone who you really hope might step up to the plate for Fulham on Saturday, and a scoreline prediction.
Well, yes, there is Salah, but there's also Trent if he's fit, because he likes a game against us. In very typical fashion, it'll probably be the game of the season where he scores a direct free kick like last time out. Fulham player outside of the defence, because we're going to need someone to show up in that defence to solidify it. It's going to be, as Drew mentioned, Andreas. I think he's a big game player, and I think his ego actually helps for games like this. He's shown it before, scoring at the Emirates and then doing Henri's celebration at the corner flag, scoring against Man City, or it was either Man City or United, and doing the Ronaldo Sue celebration. He's got a bit of an ego about him and likes to sort of rub it in when he scores in these big fixtures. So I think he'll be one to watch. In terms of a scoreline prediction, my head is saying at least this game's a 3:00 kickoff, which means it won't be televised in the UK, meaning we won't be broadcast when we get absolutely battered. My heart is saying we can nick a draw or maybe a 2-1 win out of this. My heart's an idiot, so I'm going to go with my head and say 3-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough shout there. You know, I love the optimism, but I just don't see it this weekend myself. But we'll crack off that. Mozza, what about you, buddy? Give us a Liverpool player to watch out for. Fulham player, I hope will step up to the plate and a scoreline prediction if you can, please.
So tough, isn't it, to be negative about your club? But yeah, you just got to face facts and reality. Player to watch out for Liverpool. Sorry to sound like a broken record, but touching on what Drew and AJ have already said. Sorry, either one of you. Núñez, I think, will cause us problems. As for us, who might be a danger or potential threat, I think Iwobi has been, obviously has been on form with his attacking recently. So I'm going to go with good old Alex. Scoreline prediction. I'm glad AJ said 3-0 because that was in my head as well. But I'm gonna be slightly more optimistic, if that's possible, and say 1-0 to Liverpool. Unfortunately, but yeah, I do fancy a draw. I'll take a point when we all. Yeah, 1-0 Liverpool. Pains me to say.
Yeah, well, it's just proper depressing. I'm sorry for everyone watching.
Yeah, it is.
We know that we do tend to try to be upbeat about results, but it's a tough one this week. Drew, what about yourself, mate?
Well, the boys. I mean, I've already identified the three people. I think you pick one of the three: Gakpo, Núñez, or Diaz. Pick a name out of a hat. I like the Núñez shout. I just think if I'm Liverpool and I'm looking at our defence, I'm going to go straight at Cuenca. That's what I'm going to do because he's an unknown quantity. And I'm going to go straight at him and I'm going to keep bombing him. And on that basis, I would try to do everything I could to isolate Núñez on him and let Núñez run at him. But like I said, I opened with Diaz, so I'll stick with him. In terms of scoreline, I think AJ's on the money. I think Liverpool score at least 3. I said that again about Arsenal. Okay, I did say that about Arsenal, and I'm glad that the team completely proved me wrong. But like I said, I just think this might be one game too many, and I think AJ's onto something. Sadly, I think he's right. Whether we score, I honestly don't know. I mean, AJ, you'll know better than me. When was the last time we didn't score in a Premier League game? I think it was United, wasn't it?
Yeah. Opening game.
Yeah.
Opening game. I mean, we've done incredibly well. But, I mean, Ash, you
resolute defensively, though.
Yeah. I mean, Ash, you mentioned the shootouts last year. I'm not sure we've got the weaponry to get involved in a shootout at the moment. I genuinely, that's not me being negative. I just don't know if we have. Especially if ESR plays, because he's not been on form. So I think they'll score at least 3. I mean, I think, Ash, I'm going to have to, and I know I'm basically stealing what you and AJ have said, but I'm going to have to, if we come out with a moral victory in terms of we're not massacred and we're not overwhelmed, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Because I'm already looking ahead to Southampton, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a must win. I mean, if we can be getting to the end of this calendar year and we're touching 30 points, I think we need to reset our goals and start seriously thinking about Europe. But yeah, I think between you two, I think you're right. I think they're going to score at least 3. And Ash, I think you're bang on. I just hope that we're not demoralised at the end of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair shout for me. You know, it's hard to look past Mohamed Salah. I think he's been absolutely outstanding this season. You know, for someone who was meant to have his future up in the air, and you would think that maybe that would put a little bit of doubt in his play. He's been probably the best I've ever seen him play for Liverpool so far this season. He's carrying them in games where he needs to, and then in other games, everybody else has come into the fray and joining the party. As I say, I watched them play against Real Madrid a couple of weeks ago in the Champions League, and I was absolutely mesmerised by them. I thought they were outstanding. And I hate watching teams like that and knowing that you're going and playing them and being a little bit defeatist. But we have to be sometimes. We have to know who we are, and we're a wounded soldier at the moment, and that's what it is. And we don't even have a massive issue. Our issue is all self sort of sabotage because it's suspensions that are killing us this week. But we'll see. I don't even know if I'd be more positive if Calvin Bassey was playing alongside Diop or not. But that centre back pairing doesn't really worry me for Saturday. For me, if we're going to get anything from the game, the player's going to have a worldie. Is probably Leno, because he's going to have to. It's going to stop an awful lot of football coming towards him. He had two really good games at Anfield last year and still conceded 4 goals twice. So it's one of those things that it's gonna be really really hard. Scoreline wise, my heart wants a good result. Says we lose 3-1 because it'll be nice to keep up that goal scoring record in continuous games. My head says anything less than 3-0 and I come away at least not wanting to jump out of a window, and we'll see how it goes from there. That'll do for sort of reviewing the game. In other news, there are a couple of things obviously that the club have announced this week that I just want to get a quick shout out for. It was announced today, obviously being Thursday, that Hugo Oliveira has left the club after 3.5 years of being the goalkeeper coach, and was it 10 years of being Marco Silva's goalkeeper coach. He's been a great servant for Fulham. He's a popular man within the club. I have had the pleasure of speaking to him one time before a game outside after a thing, and he was really upbeat about working for Fulham. His farewell message for Fulham shows someone who's sort of absolutely done what we all do about Fulham and fallen in love with working with the place. But he's got an opportunity to go be a manager for himself. So I doubt he's watching this, but wish him all the luck, because it's always good, especially when your coaches are then being promoted to being first team managers. It shows that you are doing something correct as a football club. And we now have also announced that Fernando Ferreira, who's joining us as our new goalkeeper coach. I believe he recently was a goalkeeper coach at Benfica, so that's a bit of a coup to manage to call someone into the club who is obviously working for a Champions League level club. So hopefully it doesn't see too much different. I know he knows Marco as well, so hopefully that works out for that. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick before we left, because I know there was some congestion for it, was Fulham announced today that the Bournemouth game is bring 2 mates for a tenner, which is some of the things that we've been praying that they would do in terms of ticket incentives to get more fans in the ground. Whether it's too little, too late, or sort of backtracking, realizing that they've outpriced the last 6-7 games to the point where they've not sold out. I'm not going to be that cynical. I'm just going to say, well done for actually doing something to try and fill out games. But what I did want to talk about quickly when we talk about ticket prices, actually not Fulham related. It's actually Man United related, because I'm really, really disheartened by the comments that have been made by Man United's vice chairman or whatever you want to call him, stating
Minority owner, Jim
minority owner Jim Radcliffe making comments about the fact that Man United's tickets shouldn't be cheaper than Fulham's, and that justifies them charging more for theirs. Is it true? I did see a tweet about it, and
Wow.
how uncomfortable does it make you feel as a Fulham fan to hear stuff like that being said out loud?
I just, it's nice. It's nice that our board have managed to alienate 2 fan bases. I think that's pretty fucking special. I mean, diehard Fulham fans, and now they've upset the Manx. I mean, you got to go some to do that. I just think
That's
it's
half a
shameful.
Surrey.
Yeah, it's half a Surrey. I just think it's embarrassing. I mean, I know that you can make all the arguments about relative economic prosperity between the north and the south, and we're in a lovely part of southwest London, but that's to overlook, the history of where Fulham fans, their socio-economic status actually is, and it's obviously been noted in boardrooms around the Premier League that we are basically rinsing rinsing people, and it's just embarrassing. It is just, there's no other way to put it. And Ash, you, AJ, Mozza, and myself, we're going to be talking about this because let's be honest, they're not going to hold the season ticket prices where they are now. They're going to go up again. Yeah. And the eye-watering prices they've got for hospitality in the Riverside stand, I mean, you'd have to remortgage. The average person would have to remortgage, to be able to afford them. But no, I mean, what can you say? What can you say? The wealthiest club in England are using us to justify increasing their ticket prices. Are you having a fucking laugh? It's
between us
nonsense.
and the United fans, you've got a lot of pissed off Londoners.
But it's just, sometimes words fail me, Ash, and this is one of those times. It just shows how far away from the fans the boardrooms are.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. If the fans want more detail into our ticket pricing, we do have a video. Please go back and watch it. But additionally, in relation to the United situation, we shouldn't be the
yardstick.
We shouldn't be the yardstick. We should be what everyone is trying to avoid doing, especially a club like Manchester United, where they are renowned for their global fan base and will have to listen to them. They will get a lot more pressure if they start isolating their fans than we will. That's just a fact, because there are much, much bigger numbers of them and they will have a much, much louder voice and they will not take this rolling over. Not that we have. But...
You say that though, AJ, but the Glazers are still there. You know, I mean, I think, and this is a point Ash made a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, Ash, I keep stealing all your points.
No, that's
fine. But as Ash said a couple of weeks ago, the club know that if we don't pay it, someone else will. It's supply and demand. You've only got 26. What's the capacity at AJ? Was it 20? Is it 26
28
now?
and a half. 28 and a half.
Not right now, it's not, is it? It's still not fully open.
We're currently running at 26,700, I think.
26,700.
It'll go up to 20. Yeah, it'll go up to 28 and a half.
But those Category A games, we all know they're gonna sell out. I mean, Ash has covered the thing about Bournemouth, which shows how wrong the club have got their ticketing pricing. But I mean, in an ideal world, AJ, you're completely right. But I mean, this is football. They've just given the World Cup to Saudi Arabia. Come on, you know.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue that I 100% think we'll be doing something on at some point when we take off our Fulham hats and we put on our football hats that we always tend to do every now and then. I think what really worries me at the moment is that at the same time we're being used as a yardstick for Man United justifying putting their tickets up 30%. Brentford are announcing their frozen season tickets yet again already for next season. You know, and they don't even know they don't even know 100% how they're going to finish. Yes, they've been outstanding at home, but you know that says a lot. You know, and it says a lot for us as a football club when the product that Brentford are putting out at the moment isn't too dissimilar to us. Yes, they're absolutely wank away from home, but the football they put on at home is superb. That they can afford to do that with a smaller stadium and at less price. So, you know, if anything, it makes me think that the club need to look internally, look a little bit more at themselves yet again. The problem is I've made my point clear on the person whose decision this is on many occasions, and he seems to be a bit Teflon, and it doesn't matter what he does to annoy Fulham fans or to disrespect us as a fan base. He just gets away with it. So, you know, we'll definitely and no doubt be doing it. And AJ is right. We have already done a video on this, and you know, I'll add the link to it on the description of this episode. If you haven't watched it, go have a look at it because it does really show on how we're feeling as a fan base about it at the moment. I don't think that's changed in the last couple of weeks. Let's move on to something slightly better just as before we finish. I'm starting a new incentive for our show starting in January. Our shop store does have a new range of T-shirts for kids, including one which is a My First Game T-shirt. We will be giving one away a month to somebody who is taking a kid to a first Fulham game. In order to be sort of entered in to win, all you need to do is you need to follow us on Blue Sky. And then if you follow us on Blue Sky, send us in a DM with just a quick description of who you're taking and why you're going and why it's important that you go. And we'll pick one a month for somebody to win that T-shirt, because we want to sort of encourage people to start bringing in the next generation of Fulham fan, as hard as that is. So
Can I just give a
something
shout
from
out
us
to my
try
mate
do that.
Ian Donaldson, because this is an opportunity for him to finally win something.
So it is a kids T-shirt, just to make it
Well,
clear. It's
he's
not
got
an adult.
kids.
It's not an adult's T-shirt, but you know, we just want to do something as a podcast ourselves to sort of encourage people that, you know, we get the importance of trying to encourage the next generation of Fulham fan, and it's just something we want to do. Other than that, guys, thank you very much. We've gone on a little bit too much today, considering what we were worried about talking about the game. We'll obviously be joined over the weekend after the game to do a review of this. Hopefully, not too dour, and we can go with it. But you know, we're not expecting much. So how bad can it be? Famous last word.
Very.
Other than that, yeah. Thanks very much, guys, for joining me. Come on, you Whites. See you on Monday. Hopefully, none of us jumping out of windows this weekend. See you later, guys.
Guys, bye bye.